Alright guys, quick little video today, a little bit of ammo stockpile philosophy, as it were. A little bit of pre-election prep, pre-panic buying prep, or let's just say you just like to stockpile ammo, and it has nothing to do with the elections. Let's say best case scenario, we get no Hillary Clinton, yay! And so we don't got to worry about that, so people aren't going to panic buy. But we've seen what happens just if there's a random shooting somewhere around the country. People start to panic buy. People start to try and pass legislation, things like that. Sometimes we get a president that likes to use his executive authority to ban things like, you know, types of ammo, whatever it may be, from being imported into the country. If you like to prepare for that type of stuff, this video is for you, and it's going to be based around a question that I get almost daily on at least one of my videos or another, because I've been doing videos about stockpiling ammo for, you know, 6.5 years on YouTube. So the question being, of course, hey, dumbass, why don't you recommend stockpiling 12 gauge? Now, I get that in the form of a question. Sometimes it's in the form of a statement, but I get that question a lot, so I want to address that. Now, first off, I will say, I've said many, many times, everybody should have a 12 gauge shotgun, at least one, and tons of ammo for it. But when it comes to me doing videos talking about types of ammo to stockpile, if you're worried about panic buying, if you're worried about politics, whatever it may be, 12 gauge is never going to be at the top of my list. And the reason's pretty simple. Things like 223, 556, 762, 9mm, 22. These are all calibers that are at the top of the chopping block when it comes to things that can be affected by panic buying, by politics, that type of stuff, right? After that, you run into 40, 45, 357, 38, 308. And you know what's all the way down at the bottom of the list of things that will potentially be affected by panic buying or by politics? 12 gauge. Because almost never will you ever see anybody try to say, even a ridiculously anti-gun politician, that we should do away with shotguns and shot shells. It is so far down on the list that if you think that that's going to happen anytime in the next 10 or 15 or even 50 years, you've got to be like an Alex Jones level conspiracy theorist, right? Now, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. We could always get Australian type gun control here that would try to ban all kinds of things, right? That could happen. But the likelihood of that happening, like all of a sudden, just out of the blue, it's 0%. And this is the safest ammunition when it comes to surviving any sort of political situation or panic buying situation, period. You are always going to be able to go and get 12 gauge. Even in the middle of a ban, and we have seen them here in this country, you could roll into any sporting goods store or gun store or whatever it is, gun show, and pick up a 12 gauge and as much ammo for that 12 gauge as you wanted, period. So it's just not something that's worth mentioning when it comes to, you know, talking about or doing videos about stockpiling ammo for those specific situations, for panic buying situations, for, you know, politically motivated situations. It's just not worth mentioning. Yes, you should have tons of 12 gauge and a 12 gauge shotgun, but that should just be, you know, you go buy a box or two every month or every payday or whatever. But if you're talking about, hey, I've got to go stock up for this particular purpose, you know, I've got $100, I got $200, whatever it is, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of ammo. Don't even worry about 12 gauge, guys. It's going to be there. Don't worry. When everybody else is panic buying this stuff and you spent your money on this stuff already, you can still go buy this. It's going to be plentiful on the shelf. It's going to be tons of it sitting here. Tons of 12 gauge just lining the shelves while this stuff is empty. So that's why you don't hear me talk about 12 gauge. So again, a little bit of an ammo stockpile philosophy video there. Plenty of stuff to stock up on. 223, 556, 762, 9mm, and 22 being your top of the chopping block ammo to look at. But other than that, save the 12 gauge for last.